Hey, leave your comments below your thoughts about the college football playoff. The first round had a lot of blowouts, didn't it? Talking about Notre Dame over Indiana, you got Penn State over SMU, Ohio State defeating Tennessee at Ohio Stadium, as well as Texas over Clemson. See, the problem is that there's just way too many teams. I'm good with four, but everyone wants eight. No, let's not have eight. Let's have 12. And it becomes watered down after a while. For the NCAA tournament, people say, maybe it should be more than just 64 teams. Let's have 96 or 100 and something teams in the NCAA tournament. It's way too many. I'm good with four. Imagine if it was four, the traditional way where we saw Oregon against Penn State and Georgia against Texas. I'd be totally fine with it. But you have people bellyaching from Alabama and Ole Miss, as well as South Carolina, thinking they should be in based on the results of the first round of the playoff. And for this committee, it's about wins. It doesn't matter about quality losses or strength of schedule. It's about wins. And so you're going to get blowouts because SMU was completely overwhelmed by going to Happy Valley to play Penn State. You saw Indiana, a lot of big mouths at Indiana, especially their coach Signetti, talking about how big and bad they are until they took on a really, really solid Notre Dame football team. And what I'm telling you is that four was fine. Also, we get those that also talk about, well, there's too many blowouts. It wasn't really a great game. It's not about brand loyalty. It's not because you know Alabama or you want to see Alabama win or lose. Point is, though, is that they lost three games. When you lose to Vanderbilt, you lose to Oklahoma, and you had three losses, no, they don't belong. Also, same thing can be said about South Carolina and also Ole Miss. They do not belong in this committee's eyes. And I totally understand that. But the idea that, well, there's just too many blowouts. Can I just go through the history lesson, a few games that we saw when it was just four teams vying for the national championship? Georgia beat Michigan 34-11. Bama beat Ohio State 52-24. LSU defeated Oklahoma 63-28. We saw Clemson beat down Notre Dame 30-3 and beat down Ohio State 31-0. And Bama beating Michigan State 38-0. And Clemson defeating Oklahoma 37-17. Oregon in 2014, they beat Florida State 59-20. So the idea that, well, I don't like these games because too many blowouts. We've had blowouts for a long time when it comes to the college football playoff and teams vying for the national championship. We've seen them for years. So what we saw over the weekend is not anything new. What I would just say that as a college football fan is when you ask for more, this is what you get. And hats off to all the home teams like Ohio State and Penn State. To be able to see those home crowds, it was amazing to see how many people were there and they were firmly invested in their football team. I love the pageantry of all that. One side note about Ohio State fans, Buckeye fans. Clearly, they sold their tickets because only one game really matters is Ohio State and Michigan. The idea that you had something like 35,000 Tennessee fans that drove 6-7 hours up to Ohio Stadium to take over the stadium. They took over College Game Day. It says a lot about Ryan Day and how Ohio State fans really feel about the program. All they care about is Ohio State, Michigan, and Ohio State lost, and the fans like, nah, you can have my tickets. I'm not going. That's something, man. That sold a really interesting story over the weekend. But I want to get your comments below, your thoughts, because to me, four was fine. But when you ask for more, this is what you get. You get automatic bids of teams that haven't taken on really strong teams. Do they belong? Sure. They also belong to get their ass kicked against better teams.